Hey guys, so today is the start of a really exciting video that will be the first video in my end of year series. I've been planning this for a little while. If you don't know, a lot of people do Vlogmas and Bookmas and all sorts of videos in December mostly. I wanted to do something. I wanted to have my own sort of end of year series that was going to be a bit fun and a bit different, but I didn't want to do Vlogmas and I didn't want to do Bookmas. So I came up with this idea. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch my first TBR of the year, so my January TBR, and I'm going to see all the books that I read or did not read, and then whatever I did not read I will be reading in a reading vlog in the second half of this video. This video is going to go over a week, however I'm pre-filming this so it's currently October, but I will be reading all the books that I did not read on my January TBR in the first week of November, and then at the end of the first week I'm going to upload this vlog and you will see how I did, and then I'm going to do that for the rest of the year. So there'll be weekly reading vlogs based off the books I did not read on my TBRs. This could be a brilliant idea. I still think it's going to be fun, but how successful I'm going to be is a big question. Now, I did kind of rip this idea off Kayla from Books and Lala. A few years ago, Kayla had this incredible series on her channel, which is to date one of my favorite series of videos anyone has ever done, called the Closet Unhaul. I think she did it in about 2017, 2018. So I'll have the playlist of that link down below, but she did it reacting to her monthly hauls. So I have my laptop here and we're gonna react to my January TBR. I know for a fact I haven't completed an entire TBR this entire year. Here we go.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you all the books.
Oh my god, I just had to voice it. My voice. I used to like sort of put on this voice. I didn't mean to, and I never really realized that I did until I edited, but I need a moment to cringe at. Oh my god, I actually read that. Okay, I'm really happy that we started off strong, especially since that's a big book.
The next prompt is scrunchies. Read a book with a gorgeous cover, and for this I've selected waist ties.
Oh my goodness, I haven't read that one. Okay, that's the first book on my TBR. I know I started it. I think I read about the first 50 pages. I guess I kind of soft DNF'd it.
The third prompt is oversized t-shirts, and you have to read a book that's outside of your comfort zone, and for this I've chosen Little Women.
I did read Little Women in January. I didn't read Little Men, but I didn't technically put the Little Men on my TBR here. It was just the Little Women, so we're doing okay here.
I kind of cheated a little bit for this prompt and I selected The Girl of Fire and Bond.
I read that. I hosted a read-along for that trilogy at the beginning of the year, so that was a mandatory read and I got to it.
And I've selected a non-fiction. I have selected the non-fiction.
Okay, I was actually expecting this one to show up. This is Another Day in the Death of America. I did start this book and I got halfway through and I put it down.
And its prompt is to read a book that is overhyped, and I'm going to be reading Clockwork Angel.
So I did reread this book.
And for this you have to do a buddy read. I already had a January buddy read planned with my friend Olivia. We decided a while ago that we wanted to read Red Sister by Mark Lawrence.
I did complete this book in January. I think it took us most of January to read, but we finished it and we were both so disappointed by it. It's definitely going to be on my most disappointed books of 2020, unfortunately.
Well, thank you so much for watching.
Oh my god, I'm shocked. I only had 2 books that I didn't read and I'm halfway through one of them. Okay, this is starting off so well. There's only 2 books that I did not read from my January TBR, which, wow. I was expecting the Diviners to show up because I did reread the Diviners and what's the second book called? Before the Devil Breaks You? I can't even remember the names of the books, but I read the first 2 books, which were rereads at the very beginning of the year, but I was planning on rereading all the 3 of the books and then read King of Crows, which was released in February, so maybe that's on a later TBR. That's gonna be interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that here. You will see me in the next clip on the 1st of November, and I'm gonna be reading the 2 books. Okay, it is the 1st of November, which means it's the first day in this vlog challenge thingy I'm going to do. Let's talk about the 2 books I'm going to be reading. What I'm thinking at the moment is with this book, Another Day in the Death of America, the book is broken up case by case. So if you can see that, I'm up to case 6 at the moment. I think I might just read it case by case during this week, because this book does follow the cases of children who have lost their lives due to gun violence in America. So it's quite heavy, so I don't want to read this all in one go. I started reading this in January and yeah, I'm still reading it. So I'm glad that this video is making me finally get around to reading it, because I do really want to read it and I was enjoying what I read of it. I found it really scary and educational, so definitely going to finish this. Now this one, Waist Tide, I did actually also start this I think in January, but then I put it down and I read 30 pages. Not gonna lie, this book intimidates me a lot. I think that was me getting intimidated because it's really sciencey. I got this originally because it was on sale, but it's also translated from Chinese and I'm trying to read more translated books. So it sounds like it's a dystopian book. So it says, a war between rich and poor, a battle between past and future. Mimi must decide if she will remain a pawn or change the rules of the game altogether. So I know the main character, Mimi, she's what you call a waste girl. So she goes into basically dump yards and scavenges for devices that can be reused, like electrical devices. I don't know, I've never heard anyone talk about this, so this is going to be interesting. And I love this cover, I think it's so pretty. But what I'm thinking, because there's only 2 books in this TBR, I realized that I also did a video where it was my top 20 books of 2020 to read. I know for a fact that I have hardly read any of the books in that video, so what I'm thinking is I can also select a book or 2 from that. So maybe I'll react to that video in this video as well, but I don't know if this is me being too ambitious. So we'll see. I'm gonna update you later. I think my goal today is to read 1 case of this. I think I'm gonna try and read to page 149. So these are my goals for today. Okay, I know I look ridiculous. I'm just getting ready for bed. I thought I'd give you guys an update because it is Monday night, but I finished Another Day in the Death of America. I'm not going to give this rating. If you don't know, I don't rate non-fiction. Overall, I really found this to be a novel that was worth the read. It's a difficult read because we're talking about the death of children. Also, the content's really heavy in the fact that there's so much research that went into this. There's so many statistics and facts and just information thrown at you. This book doesn't touch on police brutality and violence. It's all just about gun violence, whether that's gang related. A couple of the cases in here were about children who were just playing with guns at home and one of the guns went off and they got killed, and then the other child has to live with the fact that they've killed one of their friends or sibling for the rest of their life. And something that I think really worked well with this novel is the author of this, who's a journalist. He is from England, so he is an Englishman, but he's also black. So what he did in here was he had so many questions that I had, because as an Australian I don't understand the gun culture or Americans' attachments to their guns, and I really liked the questions that he had, and the way he sort of went about inquiring about the gun culture and sort of trying to understand it. And he's writing this book because it is about a country where there is no gun control and what happens in that country. Also, I think it was good because he's a black man. He talked a lot about race, so there was a lot of discussion on race and class and how those in certain areas are more likely to become victims and how that happens, and also how those people in those sort of areas, how they don't get the media attention or acknowledged for what happened to them, not just on social media but also in social justice in terms of the court and criminal system. There's just a lot in here. There's a lot to unpack. There's 10 cases altogether, so 10 children and teens that he talks about and discusses. He does it through interviews that he has with family members, friends, people who were there and witnessed the crime or death at the time. He also includes a lot of research on every child or teen's area. I highly recommend this if you're interested into looking and getting more of an understanding on gun violence in America. Moving on to Waist Tide, I did make a start on this, a little start. I read the prologue and the first chapter. So I'm 40 pages in at the moment, which honestly looks like bloody nothing. I can't take myself seriously with this. This is dense. Those 30 pages really did remind me why I soft DNF'd this. I restarted this, by the way. I didn't just continue on from the 30 pages I read at the beginning of the year. At the moment, I don't think we've met the main character, because on the back it says the main character is Mimi. Chapter 1, we're introduced to this American guy called Scott, who seems to be some sort of businessman who's come over and is trying to make a deal with these people in Silicon Valley. No, not Silicon Valley, Silicon Isle. And this isle is like this trash isle. It's basically this wasteland. There's all this dump, a lot of poverty, the air's bad, lots of pollution, the water's gross. It just sounds really far from ideal. And he's come in, he's from a recycling company, and he's trying to make business with some Chinese men. There was also like some brief mentions of like robots. Like, I'm intrigued, there's a lot going on, but like I always struggle with sci-fi. I feel like with fantasy, I've read so much of it that I can just immediately just indulge myself in the story, but with sci-fi it's kind of a little bit of an effort to get into. It's currently 10:11. I'm gonna read a little bit and then go to bed, and then I should be able to read a pretty decent proportion tomorrow. Hopefully it gets less dense the more I get into it, because right now it's a little dense. It is Wednesday and I finally am halfway through this book. I'm definitely finding it easier to read now. There is a lot of technical talk and science talk that I'm not exactly smart enough for. I don't know how I'm feeling about this one. I'm really interested by the world and the setting and the concept, because it's talking a lot about environmentalism. Basically, in this setting, there are 3 main clans who sort of run and rule Silicon Island. I think different parts of it, from my understanding. There's not a full alliance with the clans, but there's like a truce. There's definitely still conflict there, and Scott the American is trying to persuade one of the clans with his plans. He has like these industrial and recycling plans. Now his assistant Kaizon seems to be the secondary main character, or maybe the main character, and he is actually part of the Shen clan. He was born in Silicon Island, then him and his immediate family moved to America when he was about 5. So from the time he was 5, he grew up in America. So he's kind of like a foreigner, even though he was born in Silicon Island and can speak the language. He doesn't fully understand and fully follow the customs and culture there. So there's a lot he's learning. One reason I'm not loving this is because of the female character. On the blurb, there's no mention of Scott, the American character. There's no mention of his assistant Kaizon. There's literally just a mention of Mimi, who it describes as this waste girl. When we are first introduced to Mimi, it is the most disgusting introduction I have ever had. She is basically just been physically assaulted by these guys in an alley, and they are pissing on her, and Kaizon comes and saves her. They kind of immediately infatuated with one another. Mimi is the sort of female character that literally exists for the story of the male characters. She's literally there for the heroes to save. She is there for the villains to kidnap and torture and move the plot along. I'm just hating it because she's literally the only female character. And then the rest of the plot of this is literally the male characters trying to do business with one another. Then there is some conflict with the clans. I love the setting. I do really think the setting and the talk of like environmentalism and waste and just huge differences in how the different classes live. It's actually reminding me a lot of The Wind-Up Girl, but I read that book a year ago and it was one of my least favorite reads, if not my least favorite read of 2019. The settings are quite similar, but also the treatment of the one female character in the story is also really similar. So I am going to finish this. I'm not going to DNF it. I'm halfway through. It's not hard to read. I'm hoping to actually finish it tonight. But what I was thinking, because it's Wednesday and I've got until Saturday, which is when I'm going to stop this vlog, I was thinking that I should watch my top 20 books to read in 2020, but I'm pretty sure Waste Tide and Another Day in the Death of America is on this list, so I can cross them off. I'm going to react to it now. I have my laptop right down here. It's going to be interesting to see what's on this list because I've done a very poor job at referring to it. I know I put books on this list that are outside my comfort zone. Oh my god. I thought I read more books on that list than I actually did. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm planning and hoping to finish this tonight. I think that's pretty doable. And then when I come to update you on my final thoughts, I'll let you know which book out of those books I have decided to pick up next, because I'm definitely going to pick up at least one. Okay, so it is Saturday. This is going to be the last day of this vlog. So I did finish Waist Tide the other night. My final rating for this book is going to be 2 stars. I really liked the setting. It's a very harsh look at the realities of poverty and class and a neglected environment, but I think this book was overly harsh at times, particularly in terms of the treatment of female characters. There was just so much aggressive violence towards them. I do think that there's a really bleak look at humanity in this, which is interesting but doesn't make for a pleasant read. But I do think that's a partly intentional choice from the author. This book ultimately becomes about a battle class, I would say. Also has to do with cyborgs and human experimentation. I do think though that there were quite a few interesting themes, particularly like the themes of humanity and a dying world and the effects of pollution. The setting was definitely my favorite part of the book because it was so vivid, and it was interesting because I think characters definitely reflected the setting they came from. But yeah, 2 stars in the end. I am glad I got to it. So there's that. I decided from my top 20 books of 2020 to read to start Children of Time. I'm currently just over 100 pages. I'm loving this. So far, what's really standing out to me with this book is the pacing. I thought the book was going to be quite dense and difficult to get into. I just found myself to be immediately engaged and within the story. We are following these humans who've kind of been in sleep pods and they're traveling across the galaxy, I guess you could say, because Earth is no longer livable. Earth is no longer livable. So these humans are looking for somewhere else that they can live. But of course, traveling across the universe takes a lot of time, can take an entire lifetime. So they keep like being put in these sleep pods and sort of waking up. And then we're also following the POV of these spiders. The main spider is Portra. A spider called Portra. I just have to laugh. We're following their conflicts with other spiders and sort of how they're living. So I'm guessing the two is in the humans, and the spiders are eventually going to come into contact, and it's going to be about a conflict between them. I'm just loving the tone of this. Like, it's quite a serious situation, these humans not having a home and basically being lost in space, just wandering around. But there's a very humorous tone to it, which I'm really enjoying. I also really love how the spiders are kind of like this matriarchal society, and all the female spiders keep putting down all the male spiders. Like, this is the female spider. This is a thought in her head. She goes, no need to give him his name. Females do not refer to males by name. Okay, I'm just laughing at the snide comments that Portra, the female spider, is giving to all the male spiders. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. I am actually ambitiously hoping to finish this book today. That's pretty unrealistic because I've got to start editing this vlog. I haven't started, but I just reacted to my March TBR, which will be in next week's vlog, and I have quite a few books on that I need to read. So I really need to get this done ASAP. So I'm gonna try and finish this today. I think what I'll do is I'll come back when I'm about halfway through with my thoughts, and then I'll give you a final update either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. But I don't know how realistic it is that I think I'm going to finish this because it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've got to get cracking. So I'm officially halfway through this book. I'm really enjoying this so far. I think the pacing is so good. I also think it's not overly complex and sciencey. Don't think this will end up being a 5-star read. It's sitting on a high 4 at the moment, and I say I don't think it's going to increase in its rating just because it doesn't seem to be a very character focused novel at all. It seems to be very plot and I would say concept related story, which I'm really enjoying because I'm finding it really fascinating and I like the tone. I spoke before about the humorous tone of the novel and I'm really liking that. But I think if you're a very character driven reader, I don't think you would love this, but I am looking forward to seeing how this ends. I am going to end this vlog here, however. I know I didn't get to finish this book, but I did start editing this video, as you can see here. I didn't realize that I already have over an hour's worth of footage, so I want to get editing and I don't really want to add too much more footage to it, but I will definitely be finishing this book in my next vlog, so that will be out in a week from now. This challenge started off way too easy. Next video we are really ramping it up, a lot of books and a lot of big books, so it's going to be interesting to see how I do next week. I'm a little bit nervous for it, not going to lie. Let me know what you thought of this video. I'm really excited to start this series and to see how it goes, so I hope you are too. And if you've made it this far, if you could leave me the book stack emoji to let me know that you've enjoyed this video and you watched it till here, that would mean a lot to me. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!